This first clip shows a security officer who appears to be part of a very unusual encounter, one that many believe crosses into something paranormal. The man claimed he was speaking to someone during his shift, and at the time, nothing about the interaction seemed out of the ordinary to him. But it became clear that the person he was talking to may not have been there at all.
Who is he talking to? Dispatch to 329.
329, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to a elderly lady. I saw her walking by the store and she said she's looking for Mr. Griffin. Her name is Miss Abigail.
Did you say Miss Abigail?
Yes, ma'am. She says she wants to see Mr. Griffin, and I told her that the canvas is closed, that she should come tomorrow morning, and she might see Mr. Griffin.
Are you sure you're saying Miss Abigail? Like, she's been passed on for 2 years now.
Come again with that, please?
Miss Abigail she died 2 years ago.
You mean you can't see the person I'm talking to?
No, there's nobody in front of you at all.
The officer later insisted that he had seen a woman clearly, describing her presence as real and physical in the moment. However, there was no record of anyone matching that description being in the area at the time. Some believe that what he experienced was an encounter with someone who had already passed away, possibly a person searching for someone or trying to deliver a final message. The idea might sound far-fetched, but incidents like this have reportedly been documented at that same location over the years, adding to its reputation as a place where unexplained things seem to happen. Whether it was a misunderstanding, a trick of perception, or something far more unusual, the officer remains convinced that he wasn't alone during that moment, and that whatever he saw was real. Now, this next video comes from a night security officer responsible for patrolling multiple train stations, making sure the areas remain secure during the late hours when activity is minimal. Over time, he began noticing something unusual near the tracks, what he described as shadowy figures appearing in places where no one should have been. At first, these sightings were easy to question, especially in an environment where lighting, distance, and movement can sometimes create illusions. But as the encounters became more frequent, he decided to start documenting his shifts, hoping to capture something that could either confirm or explain what he was seeing. As he continued monitoring the area, his awareness of these moments increased, and eventually, one of those sightings was recorded. While walking alongside a train and filming, a shadow-like figure appears near him. It's not clearly defined, but noticeable enough to stand out against the surroundings. In the moment, it's unclear what it could be, and even the officer seems unsure of what he's looking at. Later on, after reviewing previous recordings, he realized that something similar may have appeared before without him noticing at the time.
Can you see it sitting here in the seat?
Viewers who watched the footage pointed out that the same kind of figure could be seen again, this time positioned outside one of the train cars. The shape is still difficult to fully define, but consistent enough to suggest that it might not be a one-time occurrence. After recognizing this pattern, the officer is left trying to make sense of what he captured. The figure appears more complete here, resembling a full-body shadow rather than just a passing shape. That raises the question of whether it could be tied to the location itself, something that appears repeatedly in the same area, or if there's another explanation that hasn't been considered. As with many cases like this, there's no clear answer. It could be a visual effect caused by lighting and movement, or it could be something less easily explained. Either way, the repeated nature of the sightings is what makes this footage stand out. It leaves you wondering whether something was attached to the location. The next clip raises a similar question, but this time it's centered around a room that should have been empty. This clip is one of the more infamous ghost videos that has circulated online over the years, and there's a good chance you've come across it before. It was reportedly captured inside an old hotel, where something unusual was picked up on the building's security system. According to the story, security was called to investigate a noise complaint coming from room 209. What immediately made the situation strange was the fact that nobody was supposed to be staying in that room at the time. There were no guests assigned to it, and it should have been completely empty. Despite that, reports of loud disturbances coming from inside were enough for security to check it out. What follows are recordings taken from the CCTV cameras positioned throughout the hallway leading up to that room.
It should be 209. John, do you copy? It's room 209. Amy says nobody's checked into that room, and there's reports of screaming coming from that room. Amy, he's on his way down there right now. What's going on, John? There's no one checked into that room. There should be nobody in there. Wait 1 second, John. Amy, are you there? Yeah, John says he hears the screaming coming from that room. And I hear it too. But we're sure that no one's checked into that room. Correct? John, just wait. We're going to get a hold of the police. So, I would wait for the police, John. Amy, John's going to enter the room real quick just to check, make sure, see what's going on. Wait one. John? John, are you there? Okay, Amy, John wants you to call the police right now if you don't mind. He says no one's in there, but that all of the furniture's been turned upside down and the hold on. He says the carpet's been ripped up and that the shower is on, but nobody's in there. Man, that's scary. I'm officially freaked out now.
As the footage plays, the guard approaches and eventually enters the room to investigate. But when he gets inside, there's no one there. The room appears empty, aside from visible signs that something had been disturbed, including the carpet being torn up in a way that doesn't have an immediate explanation. Whatever he saw or experienced inside clearly affected him, because after leaving, he appears shaken, reacting in a way that suggests something about the situation didn't make sense. According to the account, even after returning home, he remained convinced that what happened in that room couldn't be explained normally. What adds another layer to the footage is what some viewers claim to notice shortly after the guard enters. There appears to be a faint shape or movement leaving the room, something that wasn't visible when he first went in. Whether that's an actual figure or just a visual artifact is up for debate, but it's one of the main reasons the clip has continued to be discussed. The reported screams coming from inside the room are another detail that makes the story difficult to dismiss entirely. If the room was truly empty, then the question becomes where those sounds were coming from in the first place. Like many cases like this, there are different ways to interpret what's happening. Some people believe it's a combination of camera distortion, sound misinterpretation, and coincidence. Others think it could be an example of something genuinely unexplained being caught on camera. Either way, it's one of those clips that sticks with people, not because it proves anything definitively, but because it leaves just enough unanswered to keep the question open. And that takes us to this next video that was reportedly captured by the dashcam of a police officer during a routine night patrol. At the time, nothing about the shift stood out as unusual, and the officer was simply going about his normal duties, driving through a quiet area with little activity on the road. But that changes quickly when he notices something ahead of him that doesn't seem to belong there. It's faint, difficult to make out at first, but distinct enough for him to question what he's seeing. He continues forward and ends up driving straight through it, which immediately gives him the feeling that something isn't right. Instead of ignoring it, he decides to turn around to take another look, trying to confirm whether what he saw was real or just a visual illusion. If you watch closely, you can see what appears to be a mist-like figure crossing the road. It doesn't behave like smoke or fog, and its shape briefly resembles something humanoid as it moves through the frame and passes directly through the police cruiser. It's subtle, but noticeable enough to raise questions, especially considering the officer's reaction in the moment. Moments later, something similar appears again, this time entering from the right side of the screen. The repetition is what makes the footage harder to dismiss, as it suggests that whatever was seen wasn't just a one-time visual glitch. Many people who have seen the recording believe that something genuinely unexplained was captured here, possibly something paranormal. Others argue it could be a natural phenomenon or a trick of light interacting with the camera. Either way, it's the kind of clip that leaves room for interpretation, because while it doesn't provide clear answers, it's difficult to ignore what appears in the footage. But this kind of footage doesn't just show up on the road. In the next case, something appears inside a building that should already be empty. The clip was recorded by CCTV inside an old nightclub after closing hours, at a time when the building was supposed to be completely empty. A security officer reviewing the cameras noticed something unusual and decided to take a closer look. At first, nothing stands out, but then something appears in the footage that raises questions about how it got there in the first place.
Oh my god. I'm so scared. That's crazy. Oh my god. What's it? It has actually looks like it's walking, doesn't it?
What looks like the figure of a small child can be seen moving through part of the club, despite the fact that no one should have been inside at that time. For the staff reviewing the footage, it seemed clear enough to suggest that it could be the presence of a child, which led some to believe it might be something paranormal. At the same time, there are more grounded explanations to consider, such as reflections, lighting distortions, or even something like debris or cobwebs creating the illusion of movement. Even with those possibilities, the clip remains difficult to fully explain, especially given the setting and the timing of when it was recorded. And like many of these cases, it ultimately comes down to how you interpret what you're seeing. But sometimes the strange part isn't a shape on camera. Sometimes it's doors opening and lights switching on when no one's there. Which takes us to this next incident that reportedly took place inside a police station in Osorno, Chile, where officers on a night shift experienced something they couldn't immediately explain. The station was quiet at the time, with only a few officers on duty, when one of them noticed that a door had opened on its own. What made it unusual was that this wasn't a door that could easily move without someone physically interacting with it. Realizing something wasn't right, the officer went to speak with a colleague who was monitoring the security cameras to review what had just happened.
Ahí tiene que prender la luz. Mira, algo con ganas. Esa es igual a él. Tiene que ser un lado. Mira, esa es la puerta. Yo veo una hueá blanca. Mira, ahí salió. Mira como un humo. Yo fui mirando eso, weón, y que...
As they went through the footage, they noticed that a light inside one of the offices suddenly turned on, despite no one being inside. The guard insisted that he hadn't touched any controls, which made the moment even harder to explain. Shortly after that, the door opened, and what some describe as a faint, smoke-like form seemed to drift outward from the area. It's subtle, but noticeable enough that it raises questions about what exactly is being seen. Because the footage comes from a real security system inside a police station, many people argue that it would be difficult to stage something like this without serious consequences for those involved. Others believe there could still be a technical explanation, even if it's not immediately obvious. Either way, it's one of those clips that leaves room for interpretation, depending on what you believe is more likely. But whatever was moving through that station wasn't the only thing officers have come across. In the next case, they're called in to witness something for themselves. In a small town in South America, a farmer contacted local police after claiming that something unusual had appeared inside his home. According to him, it wasn't just a shadow or a trick of the light, but something that seemed to take on a more defined shape, enough to make him genuinely concerned. Officers responded to the call and began documenting the situation shortly after arriving at the property.
Parece que tem vulto lá dentro, cara, ó. Tá tenso, hein, pesado? Meu Deus do céu, cara! Meu Deus, cara!
As they observe the area, a strange figure can be seen forming near a window, its shape becoming more noticeable as it contrasts against the light coming from outside. The reaction from the officers suggests that whatever they saw caught them off guard, prompting them to back away rather quickly. It's not something you would typically expect from trained personnel, which is part of what makes the clip stand out. While there could be an explanation related to lighting, reflection, or shadows. The moment itself leaves enough uncertainty to make people question what was actually captured. And that takes us to the following video that was captured by a security officer who had recently started working at a new location. The following video was captured by a security officer who had recently started working at a new location. During one of his shifts, he was patrolling the floors of an old college building, a place that had already built a reputation over the years for being haunted. According to stories connected to the building, a student had died in one of the dorm rooms several years earlier, and since then, people have claimed to see what they believe is his presence moving through the hallways. Whether those reports are accurate or not, the building already carried that kind of atmosphere before this incident even took place. As part of his routine, the guard was walking through the corridors, documenting his patrol like he normally would. Everything seems standard at first, with no clear indication that anything unusual is about to happen. Suddenly, a shadowy figure appeared briefly and disappeared behind a wall. It's quick, but noticeable enough that the guard immediately reacted, clearly caught off guard by what he just saw. He tried to make sense of it at the moment, but there was nothing there when he checked the area. No person, no movement, nothing that explains where the figure came from or where it went. What makes the moment stand out is the reaction. Not just the figure itself, but the way the guard responds, as if he knows what he saw didn't match anything normal. Whether it was a trick of the lighting, a shadow cast from something out of frame, or something else entirely, he never found an answer. And because of the building's history, some people believe it could be connected to the stories that have been told about that place for years. But some places don't just produce one strange moment. They keep doing it over and over again. Which takes us to a series of unsettling encounters shared by a security guard known online as Security 1275, who documented his experiences while working night shifts at a cemetery in Georgia. Over time, his recordings gained attention because of how frequently strange things seemed to happen during his patrols. It started with a clip where he described unusual activity inside one of the buildings on the property, something that gave him the impression that he wasn't alone.
So, I'm actually hearing something banging on the door. I'm hoping I'm going to catch this son of a bitch. Bear with me, guys. Okay, I'm back. Door was open again. Hello, security!
In that first recording, the atmosphere already feels tense, with subtle sounds and movements that don't immediately have an explanation, setting the tone for what would follow in later videos. After sharing that, Josh uploaded another recording during a routine check, where something even more unusual takes place.
Hey, kid! Kid! I don't know where he went. This kid running from me. Kid! Holy God. Where went?
During his patrol, he encounters what appears to be a child walking ahead of him. The figure doesn't respond when called, doesn't turn around, and continues moving forward before eventually disappearing completely. There's no clear exit point, no place for someone to hide, which is what makes the moment difficult to explain. Josh is left confused, unsure of what he just witnessed, and with no way to verify where the figure went. But that wasn't the end of it.
This is supposed to be the most haunted cemetery in Savannah, and I am chasing a kid right now. I will not be going down that way. We just took this job like 2 days ago through the city. This is ridiculous. Somebody has definitely been walking behind me. I'm not sure. I just saw some tourists from Ohio, told them that the place closes at 10. I'm about to head back over there, but I don't know. We've got somebody that's going to be buried here tomorrow, so I'll be doing an escort. Right now I'm just...
In a later clip, viewers pointed out something that Josh himself didn't notice at the time: a shadowy figure appearing in the footage. This raised even more questions, especially since it didn't seem to match the child seen earlier. Because of that, some began to wonder whether multiple unexplained things were happening in the same location, or if there was another explanation entirely, like someone trespassing on the property. A few nights later, Josh returned with another update.
Okay, I've got my taser out now, y'all, just to be aware. Jesus Christ.
By this point, it was clear that the experiences were starting to affect him. He had taken a short break from documenting everything, but eventually decided to continue recording after being called to check on a younger co-worker who had stopped responding to calls.
I was gonna come by and check on him, and I can't get him to answer the phone. So this is a good time. If you see anything, this would be a good little video, because I had no intentions of coming out here. I went up and checked on the other side, and I just don't know where the hell he's at, and he's not answering his phone. So I hope whatever was messing with me in my older videos did not get him. I was actually just going to come by and check on him, make sure he was 10-4. But a funny story is, he said that he had PD out here earlier because he saw what looked to be a little girl was in the hallway when he drove by. When he went back, he didn't find anybody.
That situation added another layer of concern, especially since the co-worker had previously mentioned seeing something unusual himself. However, without any recorded evidence from that moment, some people believe it could have been a case of heightened nerves, especially given the setting and previous experiences. Still, the pattern of strange encounters continued.
What is going on? I'm basically just securing all this stuff right now. Just making sure there's nobody in here. Anybody in here? Hello? Yeah, but listen, you got to get out of here. You're going to have to come talk to me, okay? Where you at? I can't see you. You're correct, so you need to come out, okay? You guys hear this? This is broad daylight. I don't know where this kid is. Where are you?
Eventually, things reached a point where Josh decided to file a police report, unsure whether someone might be playing pranks or if something more serious was happening. According to him, an officer came to investigate and may have captured similar activity on a body camera, although that footage has never been released publicly.
So what is up, you guys? So my security officer that I'm supposed to have here tonight, he came in and turned everything in today. He quit. So I'm actually hearing something banging on the door. I'm hoping I'm going to catch this son of a bitch. Bear with me, guys. Okay, I'm back. Door was open again. Hello, security. Okay. I don't know how they keep opening these. Hello. Yeah. Hey, you need to come out. I'm not playing anymore. I don't know where these people are or where. Jesus Christ. All right, guys. There was somebody standing in the corner. I just saw that when my video uploaded, and what? The lights are flickering on and off. Hang on a second, guys. So, don't know what's going on here, but I'm about to check this out. Okay, guys. I'm really not sure what's going on here. Nope. Yeah, I'm done. This is some spooky going on here. Nope. This is why my security officer quit. Just so y'all can be witness here. I'm checking out. I'm getting here. This is my day off. I hear leaves crickling. Nope. There was a kid standing. Somebody was standing right over here when I walked right past them to the left. So what is going on, you guys? I hightailed it out of there. Don't know what that was. There was absolutely no switches in that place to turn lights on. Don't know why they were flickering. So right now I'm at the Jim Williams house.
After that, Josh stopped posting updates for a while. Some believe he needed time away from everything that had been happening, while others think there may have been other reasons behind his absence. In the end, the series of recordings came to a stop, leaving behind a collection of footage that continues to be debated. Some people believe it documents genuine, unexplained encounters, while others think it could have been staged or misinterpreted. Either way, his case remains one of the more well-known examples of eerie security footage, largely because of how consistent the incidents appeared over time and how difficult they are to fully explain. Those recordings are disturbing because of how long the activity seems to continue. In this last clip, though, the unsettling part isn't just the location. It's an officer himself. During an investigation at the Haunted Hill House, the team from the Demon Files encountered something that stood out even among the other strange events they had been documenting that night. The location itself already had a reputation for unusual activity, which is why the team was there in the first place, carefully recording their surroundings and monitoring for anything out of the ordinary. At the start, the investigation follows a fairly typical pattern. The team moves through the property, setting up equipment, asking questions, and reacting to subtle sounds or movements that are often part of these kinds of explorations. Nothing immediately stands out as completely unexplainable, at least not until they come into contact with someone who wasn't originally part of the focus. At some point during the investigation, they are approached by a night watchman working at or around the property. Encounters like this aren't unusual on their own, especially in locations that are still being maintained or monitored. But what caught their attention wasn't the fact that he was there, it was the way he was behaving.
We believe he was possessed.
Okay, great. So, yeah, let's start over again. So,
Yep.
You were working and you saw something.
Yes, sir, on that side of the house. A lady. It was kind of looked like a old, not to, I don't know, kind of old 40s, 50 nurse outfit. I mean, I just moved here and I was legit driving by, and that's why I stopped. I thought someone was sitting on the side of the house and no one's there. You're the one that met me at the door, so
Yeah.
hence why I knocked. But can we go in the house?
Discounts farm. Yeah, inside looking up through the window.
There we go. Okay.
Okay, we're inside, Tim.
Do you have a signal?
Are we good?
We're good.
Okay. Well, I think we got everything.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, yeah, let's. Send it. sorry?
Can we go that way?
I'm sorry, what?
Can we go that way?
Why? No, you cannot.
No, I can't.
According to the team, the man didn't seem entirely present in the moment. His behavior appeared off in a way that was difficult to describe, almost as if his responses didn't fully match the situation around him. The way he spoke and carried himself led them to question whether something else might be affecting him at the time. As the interaction continued, some members of the team began to speculate about what they were witnessing. One possibility they considered was that he could have been under some form of influence, whether psychological, environmental, or something less easily explained. Others went a step further, suggesting that he might have been affected by whatever they believed was present in the house, possibly even to the point of partial possession. What makes the moment stand out isn't just the speculation itself, but the uncertainty surrounding it. There isn't a clear explanation provided in that segment, and the behavior they observed doesn't neatly fit into one category. It leaves room for multiple interpretations, depending on how you view the situation. Because the encounter develops further beyond this point, the full context of what happened isn't entirely captured in this short segment. To fully understand how the situation unfolded and what conclusions, if any, were reached, it's something that would need to be seen in the complete investigation. Now that was all for today, folks. If you enjoyed these horrifying clips, click to see more on the video on screen.